Welcome to Beyond the Sandwich Board, Pastors Helping Pastors, with Pastor Gilles Gently from Catalyst Church in Jericho, Vermont, and Pastor Leo Benjamin, founder of MyFaithNews. Together we're helping pastors expand their digital footprint, strengthen their message, and bring the gospel into today's online world with authenticity, faith, and a shared heart for revival. Well, good afternoon, guys. Good to see you all.
Hello, it's good to be seen.
Always.
Yeah.
So, Gilles, we have a special edition coming here of Beyond the Sandwich Board about hospitality.
I'm excited. We're here with Andrew Gantt, and we're going to be talking about holiday hospitality. And Andrew is a pastor and a chef, and he's the heart behind Salt Light and Hospitality. And this brother has been spent years in the kitchen, but he's also been spent years in the ministry, and so he knows about both. And that's why we're excited to have him here to talk to us today about the Father's Table.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you wrote the new book. I just got it on Wednesday, The Christmas Table: Recipes and Reflections for the Advent Season. And it's scripture, it's stories, it's devotional, and it's recipes. So we're excited to have you here with us. Thank you for taking time and joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's hard to believe that Advent starts in a week, right? I think
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, Sunday before December, or the first Sunday in December, I believe it is.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's the 30th of November or whatever, 28th, and it's coming up quick.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
No, without a doubt.
Andrew, give us the quick story of how a kid from Vermont ends up as a pastor chef in the world of hospitality ministry.
Kicking and screaming. It happens kicking and screaming. I was told from a young age that I was called to ministry. And being a pastor's kid with a pastor who worked very hard and poured everything into the church, I wanted nothing of it. And trueness, I ran from ministry so hard, and the irony will come in a minute, and I ran to the kitchen. I wanted to be a chef. I wanted nothing to do with the church. I wanted to know how to create and blaze my name through the culinary world. And it was a long and slow process of me running from God and God pulling me back, kicking and screaming. And it wasn't until God spoke to me in a very real way, and I asked a pastor friend of mine what it meant, what God was trying to tell me. And forgive the phrasing, he looked me dead in the eye and said, God's telling you, you need to crap or get off the pot. He has a calling on your life, and if you don't take it up, he's going to give it to someone else. And I went, oh. Now, I was a pastor's kid. I know God taking his calling off of your life is not a good thing. Okay, Lord, I'm done running. What do you want me to do? And I had nothing. I didn't want to preach. I knew I didn't want to be a pastor per se in the traditional sense. And at the same time, I had a very successful culinary career here in Savannah. I was working at one of the nicest hotels in the city. I had just launched a new menu, and I knew I had to do something. So it started small. It started with me thinking I was going to write a cookbook. And through studying, looking at food in the scriptures, God revealed to me that one of my issues with the church and why I didn't want to be in ministry was because the church had forgotten what hospitality was about. And then I realized that I ran from ministry. I ran from the church to an industry that taught me nothing but hospitality. All while still being spoon-fed the scripture from my mom and dad, with them throwing it at me, hoping something stuck. And all of a sudden it clicked of, oh, The ministry I ran from, I actually ran to unknowingly. Me and my father have talked about it a bunch, and I kind of attribute it similar to Joseph being in the pit. If Joseph hadn't been in the pit, he wouldn't have been sold to Potiphar. If he hadn't been in Potiphar's house, he wouldn't have learned the skills that he needed for when he ended up in Egypt to save his family. By running to the hospitality industry, I learned these tools and these skills that gave me the ability to look at the scripture through a completely different set of eyes.
Yeah.
That really opened it up to me.
So when did you realize that hospitality was more than a hosting, it was a calling?
So, like I stated, I was trying to write a cookbook. I was looking at food in the Bible, and I'm a bit OCD, and I like to just start at the beginning. So I went to Genesis, and I was reading through, and it talked about God placing the tree of life and all the good fruit and vegetables in the garden. And then a small question popped up in the back of my head. If Adam and Eve had the tree of life, why did God put other food in the garden? They didn't need to eat. We eat for fuel. So why did he place all the other stuff? Now, some people will say it's because he knew they were going to fall. But as you read further, it states about how God would come down in the cool of the day to meet with Adam and Eve. And then all of a sudden, like a light bulb, it clicked, and I went, it was a dinner date. All God coming down in the cool of the day was a dinner date for him to meet with Adam and Eve and get to know each other. He was showing them true hospitality. He gave them a safe place to eat. He provided food and drink for them and conversation. That's all the Garden of Eden was a place for God to show hospitality to mankind. And then we went and screwed it up. So from the very beginning, you see God's heart for hospitality. Even after man fell, the very next thing God did was start a barbecue and roasted a lamb for himself. And then you just see it time and time and time again of God extending hospitality to mankind. Then you flash forward to the New Testament, and if you really take a step back and look at the life of Christ, his major pinnacle teaching moments were not at the synagogue. They weren't, other than the Sermon on the Mount, it wasn't standing declaring to everyone food or a table was involved. You had the feeding of the 5,000. He was sitting at a table when the woman came and washed his feet. The last conversation he had with his disciples was around a table. When he called out Zacchaeus, the first words he said to him was, Zacchaeus, tonight I'm eating with you. His first miracle was at a party providing wine. Throughout the whole of the gospel, Christ used food and the table as a gateway to speak life into these people's lives. And the more I studied, the more I saw. So I decided to go back to Genesis and just start writing about the hospitality that I saw. And the more I studied and the more I wrote about it, the more I saw God's heart for hospitality, and the more I was heartbroken at the fact that the church today has just missed it. And anyone who knows my father knows all of us Gantts have a curse. If we have something to say, we're going to say it, and you're going to hear it. And I had no one to hear it, so I started writing it and just throwing it out to the universe to see who on the interwebs would pick it up.
I think your sister runs the grocery store.
Yeah, my sister runs the Mercy Ministry at Agape.
That's right.
And actually, funny enough, my younger brother and younger sister are both in the hospitality industry too. My younger brother is an executive chef like me, and my younger sister is a master baker.
Wow. That's great.
It is. So you've used the word biblical hospitality. Would you define what is biblical hospitality, especially to a world and a culture that thinks hospitality is charcuterie boards and decorations?
So, rewinding back, hospitality, one thing that we have forgotten. Hospitality and hospital have the same root word, hopus. It means to give rest and care to the wearied traveler. That's all hospitality is, period. It's meeting someone's need. Biblical hospitality is really looking at the heart of that through the eyes and the heart of God, and really realizing that there is such a thing. And I've really didn't know what to call it, so I just kind of coined it in my writing as 360 hospitality, where, yes, we have physical hospitality, where we invite someone over for dinner and we open up our house and we feed them and we spend time with them. But there's also spiritual hospitality, where we meet with them and we provide a spiritual need, where we pray for them or we give them guidance and we help carry them through something. There's emotional hospitality. One of my favorite examples of emotional hospitality in the Bible is actually the shortest verse in the Bible. He wept. Christ showed up at the tomb of Lazarus, his friend, and he saw his two friends, Martha and Mary, and they were sad because their brother had died. They were weeping. Now, Christ knew he was about to raise him from the dead. He knows all. He knew that was going to happen. He very easily could have came over, looked at Martha and Mary and said, "Don't you know who I am? I've got this. Hold on." Raised him from the grave. But he didn't. He stopped and he wept with them. Not because he was sad. He was weeping because his friends were weeping. And how often in the church do we have someone come in hurting and broken, and we pat them on the shoulder and we say, "It's okay, I'll pray for you, God's got this." When in all reality, we just need to weep with them for a minute. Let them live in that moment, because what we see through his actions is he wept with them. He lived with them in that moment for a minute, and he came down to their level and then took them by the hand and said, "Let me walk you to the solution now." And how much more willing are people to let us walk them to the solution when we come down to their level and take them by the hand and say, "I know this is terrible. This sucks. Come with me now. Now that I've come down to you, please come over here with me."
Yeah.
And
just so we understood it.
To.
So we understand this correctly, is so hospitality in the church is really spending quality time with other people and listening. Correct?
You are correct, but I would boil it down to meeting the needs.
Okay.
And so often we think meeting the need is just praying for them, what is always a great option. I don't get it twisted. Prayer is a fantastic option, but it's not our only option. Or we'll throw some money at it if we can.
Yeah.
When really the personal interaction, the relationship, the carrying people through is so much more impactful. And you will get so much further with helping someone when you come down and you meet them at that level and you give them, coming back to the root word of hospitality, when you give them that rest, when you give them that safety, that is the area where God's heart is seen and really moves to pierce the heart of man.
All right, we're talking holiday hospitality. That's why we're on here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk I want to talk about where you see hospitality in the Christmas story. And I know we've alluded to that I don't want to get into all of that right now.
Yeah.
But maybe you can talk about holiday hospitality in the Christmas story, but more importantly, how it relates to a pastor in these next 4 weeks. How can we incorporate biblical hospitality into this so that it shows up, right? We're talking holiday hospitality. What does that look like for us?
So
Can I just make a statement real quick, Andrew, to add
Absolutely.
to Jill's? Because I think it'll build context. One of the things that Jill's and I have been talking about is how difficult this season, the Advent and the Christmas season, is for people. There's a lot of wounded hearts out there that really that they struggle with this time of year deeply. And they might not show it when they show up at church, but and I think having the capacity to bring hospitality is more important now than at any time during the year.
absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. I mean, so many people, and I don't want to hop on this train by claiming, we're far too consumed in the commercialism of the season, but we've missed the heart of it. And we typically, as pastors, we think if we do a good enough Christmas program, if we sing the carols right, if we decorate the front of the church, that's what's going to let God shine through. And it's not. So looking at hospitality in the Christmas story, we're going to go back to the first part of the Christmas story. The hospitality that Mary showed. Mary was presented a situation. Angel came to her and said, the Holy Spirit is going to come upon you. You're going to be pregnant with the Son of God. She was given a hard thing. And she didn't think twice about it and said, okay. And how often, especially as pastors or bivocational pastors, where we see a need and it's going to be a hard thing. And we go, well, I'm kind of busy. We've got the children's choir coming next week. And we've got the toy drive out front. And I got to prepare for the Christmas Eve service. I don't know if we're going to be able to handle that. I'm here to tell you that hard thing is far more important than any of those other things. Those other things are to make you feel good. Do the hard thing. We see it from the very beginning of the story. Part of hospitality in the Christmas season is putting yourself out, putting yourself in a place where it may not be comfy, but you're doing what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And she, even though she was worried about it, she was grateful for it, and she thanked God for the hard thing. And she went to her cousin's house and rejoiced with the fact that she had this hard thing she could do. How often as pastors do we complain about the hard things we need to do during the holiday? But she didn't. She counted it as joy.
Huh.
And she did it to the best of her ability. Fast forward a little bit. The shepherds. The shepherds are one of my favorite parts of the Christmas story because so many people don't catch the nuances in it. So we all know we celebrate Christmas now. We know Christ wasn't born in December. I don't know if either of you follow Jonathan Cahn, but he does a great teaching on how it's plausible and most likely Christ was born in the spring. And we know that because of the shepherds. The only time the shepherds were in the field in Bethlehem were during the ewing season. Lambs are the only creature that give birth at the same time of year, no matter where they're at.
Huh.
No matter what part of the world they're in, they give birth during the months of March and April. What, ironically, Christ died around his birthday. Anyways, going back, Bethlehem the house of David, was known for one big thing in the historic world. They produced the lambs for the temple for sacrifice. When the angels came to speak to the shepherds, to let them know that the Lamb of God had been born in Bethlehem, they would have had full understanding of what the purpose of the child laying in that manger. Fun fact, do you know what mangers were used for during the ewing season?
Mm-hmm.
They would place the baby lambs in there to protect them so they would be without blemish, so that way they could be used for sacrifice. Now put that in the context of the Christmas story with Christ being laid in a manger at his birth. But here's the wild thing about shepherds. According to Jewish tradition, they were unclean. The ones who would raise the sacrifice for the temple were not allowed to go into the temple to give sacrifice and atone for sins with God. And the very first person that the angels reached out to once the lamb was born were the people who were not allowed to go into the temple.
Wow.
As pastors, it's our job to follow suit. Yeah, the guy out front of your church holding the coffee mug in one hand and the cardboard sign in the other, he's the one you need to be going after, not the white hairs that are going to fill the coffer and give the extra donation during Christmas time. Our goal is to fill the kingdom, not our wallet. And so often we're looking for the older families and the families that left our church that may come back. Oh, and I really hope the Joneses come back. They haven't been to church since last year.
Huh.
But we need to make it our focus to be going after the hurt, the downtrodden, the people that the world doesn't even want. That's a huge way that we would be able to show hospitality in this season of going after the people who actually need it. Fast forward a little bit more. 2 years after his birth, the kings show up and they bring gifts. They bring gold, what was a need for travel. But they gave frankincense and myrrh. Those are probably two of the worst birthday gifts imaginable because their main goal was preparation for burial. But they were gifts that needed to be given. And how often, and this is a rough one to swallow when it comes to hospitality, we think we're being hospitable by not necessarily saying what needs to be said. We'll keep the quiet part quiet. We will give the happy story. We will give the access or we have the woman who keeps coming into the church who has a drug problem, and we'll let her know where the program that can help her is. When really we should be showing enough hospitality to tell her the hard thing and provide what she needs. A way for freedom, not another 12-step program that will cycle her through and put her back out. How many people do we have in our churches that we know what hard things need to be said, but we don't because it may upset them? It may hurt their feelings. We can't, that's not showing hospitality. We may make them upset. No, sometimes hospitality is giving the person what they need, even if it's the burial spice for their own funeral. We have to be willing to give it to them. Because that's what hospitality is. It's giving rest and healing. I named my website, my blog, my ministry, Salt, Light, and Hospitality, off of Matthew 5:13. of we're supposed to be salt and light. Everyone takes that verse because salt seasons, it enhances, and we love to tell that part. But they would have gotten their salt from the Dead Sea when that sermon was given. They would have known that salt not only had sodium chloride, table salt, but it also had potassium chloride. No, sorry, potassium nitrate. What is saltpeter? It is a healing, potassium nitrate is a fertilizer. It helps stuff grow. Magnesium chloride is a healing salt. You use it to clear up skin. You rub it in wounds. And it burns and strips away the dead flesh.
Huh.
That's not always comfy, but it heals. Often healing isn't fun, but it's part of hospitality, and we have to do what needs to be done. That is at the core what hospitality is doing what needs to be done. And that's what we saw the kings do. They showed up and gave the gifts that needed to be given. Joseph was a carpenter. They would have not had the funds to have the proper burial spices for Christ when he died. But the kings gave them what they needed at the very start. And that is such a big piece of hospitality.
Yeah.
And I'll save the fourth one for the end.
Okay.
That was intense right there.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We were talking off camera before, and he was saying some things. Andrew was saying some things, Leo. And I was like, that's a rough word right there. You know, that might have upset some people. And he said, well, I'm not getting paid by the church, so I don't care. So, Pastor, he's not here to upset you or to make you friends.
Yeah, no, I'm here to say what needs to be said. I've been told in the truest sense that the main gift that I work through is prophetic speaking. People don't realize that the prophet's not a magic 8-ball. In all reality, it's pattern recognition and knowing the heart of God and being willing to say it. Often the prophet was not the popular guy. I don't remember one book where the prophet showed up and the town went, yay, the prophet's here. The prophet showed up and they went, oh my God, this guy. Why?
We're going to kill him.
I'm going to kill him. Let's drive him out of town before we get over the town. Because once he tells us, then we know better and we have to obey it. I'd rather kill him before he gets.
Oh, we hope so.
Yeah. All right. Talk to pastors then that are watching. And so this is a tough word, right? Because we're talking holiday hospitality. I'm going to ask you to give us a tough word. Talk to us about volunteers during the holiday season and how we can see them and implement them, use them, and not just see them as people who fill the slots, right? Because we have to be hospitable to our volunteers as well.
You do. Well, one thing that we were talking about off camera that I'll go ahead and bring up again. One thing that pastors need to start doing now, or stop doing now, then start doing. Stop lying to your congregation and lying to yourself about how many members you have. You have as many members in your church as you do ministry workers and volunteers. The rest are not members of your church. They're people who come every week. Period. And that's a rough one because we go, no, I have 250 members in my church. No, you have a ministry team of 17 that are active.
Yeah.
The rest that show up every week. You're not a member of a church unless you are functioning in that church. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be on a team, but unless you are greeting people, doing outreach, volunteering where you can, you just go to that church. Voting at the business meeting really doesn't mean that you're a member of it unless you are active.
Huh.
So, Pastor, get it square who your members actually are. B, lead by example. Do not set up your volunteer hours and just cut them loose. You got to be there with them, at least at a point. At least someone to take leadership and be at that point. Volunteers get so burnt out when you hand a group of volunteers who don't do this, who don't fully know, and go, okay, we'll run it. I've got to go prepare for the sermon. Or I put in my hours on Sunday. We have a long-running half joke in our family, but it's really turned into a creed. Ministry is not something we do. It's who we are. You don't get days off when you're in ministry.
It's true.
My father jokes often. Someone said, oh, it's so great to get paid to do what you enjoy to do. He went, what do you talk about? He goes, well, you get paid to preach. No, I would be preaching if I got paid or not. They pay me to do the stuff that I wouldn't do for free. But ministry
that'd be the least of your responsibilities.
Right? Ministry is not one of those things. Administration is the things that you get paid for.
Yeah.
But you do ministry because it's a calling on your life.
Yeah.
Allow people to function in their gifts. Allow them to work in the areas that they can, not try to force them into an area that you need filled. I am a firm believer our God provides all things. And if you don't have enough workers to fulfill a ministry hole that you see apparent, but you have ministry workers that can fill another one, maybe that ministry hole is not a hole and you're just trying to make a square block fit in a round hole. Put focus on where you have your workers. When you make the greeting team work in the office, they are not going to be happy. But if you put the greeting team with people, you're going to have happier workers.
Just to qualify it, Andrew, a lot of the churches that we deal with in Vermont and upstate New York, a lot of them are small. They're, you know what I mean by small. They don't have a lot of volunteers to go in. They have volunteers and people that are helping, but they've got to wear a lot of different hats. You know what I mean? And we're coming into a time, especially during the Christmas season, when they're going to get, where the people come in like they come in for special services and stuff like that. So you want to maximize that, I would imagine.
Yes, you need to maximize your volunteers. This is typically the point where I would remind that we are the church body. We are a family, and function it as so.
Okay.
Come in with one mission, one purpose. Do what needs to be done. Yeah. A lot of it is wording. It's not necessarily a need for volunteers. It is a function of the body, if that makes sense. It's not we need you to do this. It is the church body is going to be doing this. We don't look at our leg and go, hey, I really need you to move today. We go, oh no, we're going to move now. And we move as a body.
Yep.
And as pastors, if we would start treating our church congregation as a body and implementing it, I apologize, it's a really hard thing to implement only in the holidays. And that's really what I've been trying to teach and preach about, is this is a heart change that you have to prepare yourself and your congregation for the whole year. So that way, when you come to the holidays, you move as a unit. When you come to Easter, you move as a unit. When you come to special events and VBS and summer camp and dedications and funerals and weddings, the body moves as a unit because you have treated your church as a body and a unit and not a whole bunch of individual pieces to move around like a chessboard. We're not playing chess. The Christian walk is a marathon, and we have to work so as such. But so often we think we need to balance the scale, and we need to move this person here to cover this, and we need to move them to cover that. You're using chess moves for a race. That's not how it works. You can't do it. And then pastors go, "Why are my people burnt out?" Because you're not playing the right game. You're not doing the right sport. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much.
Good. Sorry. It's a curse.
So, like Leo was saying a minute ago, most of the people who are listening are small churches, limited budgets, limited volunteers. But what's one thing, one change pastors, churches can do that they can do now, starting now, to implement in their church to make hospitality better before Christmas Eve?
Typically, I would say in the South, it's very easy for us to do this. I would say, open your doors, move your service outside, make yourself known. You guys have oil and heating bills up there. I know. I came from there. It's far harder to open up the doors physically. Get into your community and let them know that you are there. And here's the specific part that's hard for a lot of pastors and even harder for congregates come to find out. Let your community know you are there for them. One of the best exercises that I tried to put to pastors to really start the mentality of hospitality in an area. Do a prayer walk. Go into the neighborhood that your church is in, knock on a door, and say, "Hi, I am from church down the road. Is there anything we can pray for you for?" That's it. Not, "We would love you to come on Sundays. We've got a great kids." No, they don't care. Because as soon as you start pitching what programs you have, you're doing a sales pitch. Show up and be there for them.
So no sales pitches.
No sales pitches. Hi, I'm from the church down there. Is there anything we can pray for you for?
It's service.
It's service. You're showing them from that moment on that you don't care if they walk through that door. You want their needs met by any means necessary. Okay. So many people, "Oh, why don't you come on Sunday? We've got a great soup kitchen afterwards." No, that's invite them to the soup kitchen. If they come to the soup kitchen enough, they will come to the service before. Don't pitch. Don't sell your church. So often we try to sell God. He will sell himself. All we have to do is let them know that we're open for business.
And be a service to them. So walk up, knock. Is there anything we can pray for? I'm from down the road. You need a hand with something?
They say yes. You pray. You walk away. Thank you. They say no. You say, "Well, I'm right down the road. If you ever think of anything, let me know." Go to the next house.
And you call that a prayer walk?
Just
so you're literally going house to house.
Prayer walk, prayer tour. We used to do it in the 90s and early 2000s when we had VBS. We'd run around and we'd hang door hangers and we knock on doors. "Hey, we got VBS down the road. Come to our church." When we could have just been walking up and saying, "Hey, is there a need that you have that we could meet?"
Well, they have a need to put the kids somewhere in the summer.
and that right there is one of the biggest movements that a church can make to foster community hospitality.
Can I ask you a question, Andrew?
Oh,
Was
absolutely.
the door knockers, were they very successful as a way of going out for like VBS? I mean, I don't know about Christmas time or whatever. Was that a good way to communicate with people?
Yes and no.
Yep. Those are questions I get, by the way.
I mean, yes and no. When door knocking like that is like any other marketing campaign, you may hit your target audience, you may not. You're looking for quantity over quality at that point.
I know this guy named Gilles. His marketing is ministry.
Marketing is ministry.
Marketing is ministry.
Yes.
And quite frankly, let's flip that one for you. Ministry is marketing for the Lord.
Come on.
That's all ministry is marketing for the Lord. And you got to make sure you're selling the right thing. Because often, too many churches that have their marketing down are not selling the Lord, they're selling the church. And that's all you're doing by going and knocking. Just knock, knock, anything we can pray for. Other than letting them know where you're from, don't tell them what time services are unless they specifically ask. Don't even give them the street address. Hi, this is my name. I go to this church in town. Is there anything we can pray for? Thank you very much. Go to the next house.
I love it.
Do that a couple times. You're going to get longer conversations, and then you're going to start seeing people walk into your door.
Yeah. And it's free.
Another great one that we have started to see down here, harder in Vermont for the holidays, great for the summertime. If you have some older ladies or some stay-at-home moms, make a big thing of cold brew coffee, grab some juice boxes or some bottled water, go to the park. You've got a sea of mothers there with their kids. Give a drink, have conversation. Because that's all it is. Conversation, meeting people where they're at, and making yourself open to meet their needs. That is the first step to showing hospitality. Free. Simple. We have a rule that I follow in the kitchen. The church needs to follow it too. Often we have chefs and they get caught up when they're making a dish. I've got to do this and I've got to do this and I have to sear it. I have to butterfly it open. I have to retie it. Anthony Bourdain at one point said, good food is simple food. And we use the phrase in the kitchen, KISS. It stands for keep it simple, stupid. So hard we want to complicate it by, we're going to have this program and we're going to draw these people in and we're going to have these flyers. You could make hot chocolate and Christmas cookies and stand out front of your church and pass them out and it be more effective than the Christmas program you had inside. Simple as that. Yep. Because you are going to see more foot traffic. You're going to have more one-on-one real conversation than you ever would standing in a pulpit. Yeah.
By the way, Gilles, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, your clock on your computer. I was just making sure it's okay.
Okay, it's good. Yeah. Well, let's ask Andrew. I've got a few more minutes. My battery's getting low, but we got a few more minutes. Andrew, talk to us about your book, The Christmas Tables, Recipes and Reflections for the Advent Season. Tell us about it.
So, Christmas is a big deal in my family. I come from a very large family. I don't think, until you see us all in one place, you really don't understand how big the Gantt family is. There's mom and dad, and they had 5 kids. Well, all of us 5 kids are married with kids now. Some of those kids are married with kids now. When we get together, I think there's 28 or 29 of us now. Christmas is a big deal. I like to do my writing a bit out in advance. And last year, when I was writing about Christmas, I did a comparison between the Christmas Story and Passover. and the correlations that are seen in between. Great series. I highly suggest go to the website, saltlightandhospitality.com. Go back and read those.
Sure it's listed when we have it up.
Good information there. I didn't want to do something like that again. So I started thinking about, well, I'll take my own advice. I'll keep it simple. I will just talk about the picture of hospitality that's shown in the Christmas story. And then I had to do the hard thing as a writer or a pastor. I had to decide what I was actually going to teach on because I had so much material. And I couldn't pick what one I liked the most. After I wrote it, I decided what one I liked the most. But when I was just staring at them, I had decision paralysis. I couldn't. I went, well, I'll write a book. I'll do it all. And I was able to find 25 stories. And I went, wow, that would line up beautifully for an Advent devotional. And I started writing it. And as I was writing it, I like to blend in memories and personal stories with my writing. It helps draw people in. It makes you as a pastor or a teacher far more human and relatable. When you just spit facts at people, you become a machine. But if you can tell them a story, tell them a fault, it draws them in because you're now human and it's real. So I started thinking back through Christmas memories, and I come from a big family. 3 of us work in the hospitality industry. There's a lot of family recipes and food. And we had joked for a while about making a family cookbook. So what I did was I wrote the 25 devotions, and then I write corresponding stories that actually have a recipe attached to each one of them. And each recipe throughout the book is something that is personal to me or my family. And what I did is I took the family recipe and I don't want to say I improved it, but I put the chef's twist on it. At the end of each recipe, there's a little note of like, okay, here's the recipe. But if you really want to bring this over the next level, do X, Y, and Z instead, or try this variant. And I popped them together because really the goal in it is A, for people to understand God's heart in hospitality and that you can see it throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
B, with each recipe that I have in the book, there's a small note or a tip. The very first recipe in it is my best friend growing up, his mother, Diane. I lovingly call her Ma. Every year around Christmas time, Ma would make this banana walnut chocolate chunk bread. And it was great. She made it out of this tiny kitchen, but she always managed to make me a loaf of it. So when I put the recipe in there, I put the recipe big enough to make 2 loaves. And I say right in it, make these loaves. Take the first loaf, eat it with your family. Take the second loaf and go to your neighbor and give him the bread. Give it to someone who may need it. Give it along with an invite to come to church with you. You know, a lot of people don't have the availability to bake at the holidays. They're either homeless, displaced, living in a motel, not have an oven. And who doesn't love a good baked good at the holidays? And with each of the recipes, right down to, I'll spoil a joke near the end of the book. Giles, I apologize. You'll find this one out soon enough when you read it. Like I said, I have a personal recipe with each story and devotion. The one slated for Christmas Eve is the recipe for my family's Christmas Eve dinner. And it's going out to Chinese food. We go out to Chinese food every Christmas Eve. And I say, if you can save up, pick a table and pay for it. Invite someone out to come and sit with you who may not have a family to go eat Chinese food. Give them that piece of normalcy. Give them that piece of hope, joy, love, care that we see salted throughout the entire Christmas story. And these are real, practical ways that we can live them out in our everyday life.
All right. What's the one recipe or your favorite recipe in the book?
Oh, it's a 3-way tie. So I'm going to give you all three. Firstly, my mama's chocolate eclair cake. It's more of a pudding than it is a cake. That recipe I have made every Christmas Eve since I was old enough to stand up next to the counter with her. Every Christmas Eve, she'd have all the grandkids come in and make the recipe with her. And then we'd fight over licking the bowl and the beaters after it was all made, because the way it works is you have to assemble it and then put it in the fridge and let it sit and settle overnight so it'd be ready for Christmas Day. That one hits me right in the feels, because that I can't get through Christmas without tasting that pudding. Secondly, I have a recipe I call them Santa's cookies. It is my personal favorite cookie recipe, and since I play Santa during the holidays, they're my favorite. It is a toasted oatmeal pecan chocolate chunk cookie. Little bit of brown butter in that. Sprinkle some of those Christmas red and green mini M&Ms to make them festive. It is a heart attack and diabetes in a cookie, but you know what? I'll die a happy man. And another great thing to make and share around. But probably my top recipe in there is I have a recipe for a espresso compound butter rubbed prime rib with a red wine reduction sauce. You take softened butter, espresso, rosemary, thyme, sage, garlic, blitz it in a blender. Then you take a rib roast and cake it on the outside, wrap it in plastic, and let it rest for a couple days in the fridge.
A couple days.
And you let all that butter and espresso soak right into the meat. Then you start it in a cool oven, set it at 200 degrees, let it ride for a couple hours till you hit an internal temperature of 118. Crank that oven to 500 degrees for 10 minutes to get a nice reverse sear on it. Let it rest. It will be the best roast you ever have. And then the sauce that goes with it is just some red onion, red wine, and a little bit of sugar that you let cook down into this glaze. We have it every Christmas Day for dinner, and it's fantastic.
I like the coffee part.
That espresso butter is so good. The coffee, I often speak about with cooking, you need balance in everything. With fat, you need acid. So the rib roast and the butter have so much fat in it that coffee adds that acid to cut through it and help it be not so heavy. And it's a delight.
Great.
That's awesome.
Well,
All
it's
right,
great
brother.
to have you, Andrew.
Take us home. Tell us how the single mother, the bivocational pastor, how they can incorporate holiday hospitality into this. What's the last Christmas story?
So my last one, and this one ended up being my favorite. Second favorite only to the shepherds and the story that paints. The innkeeper. The innkeeper is often framed as the villain of the Christmas story. How dare that man turn away a pregnant woman and her husband? A pregnant woman in labor. How dare he? A businessman with his own wife and mouths to feed turn away a person when he already had paying customers in every room of his inn. That's not being a villain. He just didn't have any more to give. But what he did have was a safe, dry place. Wasn't pretty. Didn't smell great. But it was safe, it was dry, and it was going to meet the immediate need that they had. It was small. It was insignificant. People have said it all the time. How could he only place them in a stable? He gave what he could. And so often, I've heard pastors do it. I've heard mothers do it. I've said it of, well, I can't do that. I don't have enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough talent. But you could give something, and giving what you can is the best gift that you could ever give. I'm drawn back to the widow making the bread for the prophet. All I have is this little bit. That'll do. Make the bread.
Well, Jesus showed that at the multiplication of the loaves and fishes. The disciples saw limitation. Jesus saw unlimited.
So often, and I always attribute it back to, God equips the called. He doesn't call the equipped.
Thank God.
If you see a need, meet it however you can.
With what little you have, he multiplies.
What little you have, because when you give all that you have, you're actually giving from the heart. Yeah. If you have excess, you're not giving anything because you're not losing anything. But when you give what you have and you give what you can to the best of your ability, no matter what that is, it may be as simple as buying $1 coffee from the gas station and giving it to the cold person on the street.
One of my favorite stories, Andrew, is at the disciples at the beautiful gate.
Yep.
Silver and gold I have not, but what I do have, I give unto you. Get up and walk.
And so many of us.
Now he was gainfully employed.
And so many of us get hung up because we don't have silver and gold. Therefore, we don't even think about it. We don't even look at it.
Yeah.
But what you do have,
they invested into them.
You can give. And it is, not only is it good enough, it is the greatest thing you can do. It's far beyond good enough.
I think it's more pleasing to God than it is if you had money.
Right. It's along the same lines that Jordan Peterson says, there is no such thing as a nice, strong man, because if you're, a nice, weak man. Because if you're a weak man, you're not nice, you're just weak. It's when you're strong and dangerous that you actually have the capability to be nice. If you have all the excess to give, you're not being generous, you're just giving. But when you give what you can, no matter how small, and don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to put yourself into the poorhouse.
No.
But we can give something. We can do something. You can go to Walmart and buy the roll of Pillsbury sugar cookies to cut up and bake to donate to the church or the neighbor. You can buy that cup of coffee for the guy on the corner. You can, forgive me on this one, take 30 seconds and go visit the shut-in or talk to the old woman that her grandkids live 5 states away that has no one at the holidays. You can take those 5 minutes and talk to her after church. You can give what you have.
Yep. So hospitality is about being able to offer from yourself.
Yes. You are pouring out of your bucket that should be constantly refilled by God. So you don't have to worry about it.
It means giving because you might not have. In fact, that's the better place to give. And I've noticed in my own life, when you do that, it comes back to you anyway.
Oh, tenfold.
Yeah.
Tenfold.
Yeah. Even if it's just a small thing that you did. And that's hospitality, that's service with,
One thing that we do as a family every year is, and my kids know it, they're actually going to start it today. Every year around November, they go through their room and they fill a bag full of toys.
Okay.
Not broken ones. The broken ones get thrown away.
And they have to give them away.
But any toys that they don't play with anymore, they're getting given away. They're going to a church for a toy drive or to the needy or to Goodwill.
Yeah.
They are leaving the house because Christmas will come, Santa will come, you will get more gifts, it will be okay. But we are going to give of what we have. And that really instills in them, we're going to give what we have because we know at some point the Lord will bless us. Because if we don't give, you're going to lose. You're not going to be able to get what the Lord has for you if you don't give.
Yeah.
And sorry, I know we're running long.
Yep.
It's been wonderful. This has been fantastic. Let people know where they can connect with you. I see it down there, but let them know if they want your book, they want to buy it. Where are they going to go get it?
So the easiest place to get it is on Amazon. The Christmas Table, Andrew M. Gantt. You can also go to my website, saltlightandhospitality.com. There is a link there to either go to Amazon or you can order one from me, and I will be more than happy to sign it and send it to you. All you have to do is shoot me a message on there, and we will figure out a way to make it happen. But even more so than reading the book, I want people to just get the idea of hospitality for Christmas, but in their lives, period. Because I want them to understand that is God's heart, is for you to show his hospitality to the world.
Great.
Hey, man, this has been fantastic. Pastors, the challenge is don't just decorate for Christmas, but open up hospitality.
Yep. I agree, Gilles. Yeah. And if you got, wherever you find it, it might be the smallest things in the world that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And be an example. I know Andrew said it right. Don't just organize an event for volunteers. Become part of the event.
Become the event.
Yeah. In fact, I don't believe that events make God happy anyway, or programs. I think he likes hearts. And we happen to be at an event. That's all.
When we focus on a program, we forget about the people.
Yeah.
Focus the people. The people are your program.
That's a good word.
Yep.
People over program. That is what I have preached for a long time, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon.
Good. Anyway, Gilles.
Leo.
Well, for those of you who are on, that was a new way of doing stuff. So with total transparency, we were able to get Andrew on Sunday and reproduce it today. And I think it went well.
I think so. He had a good word, and it was, because we watched it again. So I was there the first time, and then watching it again, it's like, man, this is good information.
Yeah. And this is what Beyond the Sandwich Word is about. It's about, bringing people on and that can bring in new ideas. It's pastors helping pastors.
Pastors helping pastors.
Yeah. So, because it's hard out there. I know a lot of pastors out there that are, it can be a lonely job.
Well, even with a bigger church. One of those things you have to lead from the trenches, right?
Yes.
We're all in it. We're all figuring this out, and we're just trying to do this.
Yeah. So
we
were able to have some really great people. We had Beth Poucher on, and her husband. They're down in Granville, New York. That you can see Beth Gordon Poucher. We're gonna do something with those guys. They are having, just so you know, I don't know if you could see them on our feed, but anyway, they're having amazing right now. The Lord is just moving in their church. People coming to the Lord, new people coming to the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
And they're doing new things. They're doing some exceptional things in their church as well. It's the Granville Baptist Church, is what it's called, in Granville, New York. So, yeah.
It's amazing.
He just built a new website about a year ago.
Hallelujah.
I told him I'm getting them on. So we're going to get them. Yep. I'm really, they're just such a blessing. But anyway, we put Andrew's information up online. It's called Salt and Light Hospitality. And also I see Gilles put up there as well his the short code, I think, for the Amazon for the book, correct?
Yeah.
So did you have anything you wanted to add before we give people back their day?
Thank you for watching. Don't
don't just be watchers, but doers. So implement some of this. I know for me, even in my life, even after this, listening to it, it's like, there's some things I need to do to increase hospitality.
Yeah. I think they're same here. We can never learn enough that we can apply something into our lives, Yep. So, yep.
Okay.
All right, brother. We'll sign off, and we'll see you everybody in about a month.
Sounds good.
And by the way, if anybody has ideas, please send them along. We're definitely open to it.
That's right. And happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Amen.
You too, Leo. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah. All right, brother.
All right.
Hold on. Stay with me.
Thanks for joining us for Beyond the Sandwich Board. Pastors helping pastors with Pastor Gilles Gently and Pastor Leo Benjamin. Remember, your message matters. Let's take it beyond the sandwich board and into the world, one post, one story, and one soul at a time.